All right, so you will get question about critical numbers. Critical number is basically two situation: f prime of x equal to 0 and f prime of x equal to does not exist. Now it happened on yesterday's homework. F prime of x does not exist. On that question of 12x to the 2 third minus 4x, because that one does have f prime x does not exist. We'll go over that one. But yeah, so sometimes critical number is not just owning f prime x equal to 0, it also does not exist. This people usually forget. Now, I know this is probably 2 weeks ago, but you have to be able to find absolute maximum and absolute minimum, and in the intervals. When you're able to do that, the table is your best justification. So you must have your table. Evaluation of a critical number and the endpoints. So you have to evaluate your endpoints. So you do a table, you plug in your endpoints, find a y value, find a critical number, plug in a y value, find a y value, compare them to find out where's absolute max and minimum. Yes, Miranda? The difference between like the table and the number. Oh, that's a great question, by the way. Miranda posed a very good question. Here's the thing: absolute maximum, minimum. I only want to know the highest value of the lowest value. A number line test is gonna tell me which part's increasing and decreasing, and number lines tells you relative maximum, minimum. It does not tell you absolute because they didn't care about what happened in the endpoint. If I ever ask you relative, usually is without no intervals. That with the intervals, usually it's gonna ask you absolute max and min, and there's two different way of justification. So for absolute max and min, it has to be done by table. You cannot do a number line test. Number line test doesn't tell me what happened in the endpoints. Yes. So you only do like the table when you ask like specific like coordinates, so you can get. If I ask you if I says absolute max and min, then you have to do three things. You have to take a derivative, set equal to 0. That's the first thing. Let's define critical number. And you had to build a table, evaluate the endpoints, and evaluate the critical number. Evaluate means you plug in that x value into the function to get a y value. Now, lastly, you had to compare which output is the highest. Now, also AP exam, also when I say it's value means a y value, right? So it's yu. So those are things that you should pay attention. Now, so that is 3.1. So we on the textbook is 3.1. So I know all these classes they go by units. I don't go by units because I like to go by textbook. They go by the AP things, and I really think I kind of disagree with certain things there. So we just go with textbook. 3.1. That's what we talk about. 3.2 we talk about Rolle's value theorem. Rolle's value theorem is f prime of x is continuous, f prime of x is differentiable, f of a is equal to fb. You must have those three conditions in order to have Rolle's value theorem. The drawing is gonna look like that. It's gonna have a peak where you have a slope is equal to 0. Now, why is not differentiable? You had to be differentiable because you cannot have a cusp in the situation. But there was at least one C where f prime c is equal to 0. Please do not include in endpoints because endpoint does not count toward Rolle's value theorem or mean value theorem. If we ever get a situation, especially Supper's probably doing Team Zero competition, Lian is going to do competitions. What you guys going to have to focus on is that you should not including the endpoints. You had to do mean value theorem and you cannot including the endpoints. If you're not doing the competition, you still very rarely they give you endpoints as well. Sometimes they did. On that worksheet, we did. I think it's like 1 minus x to the third power. Yeah, so Rolle's value theorem, basically slope is equal to 0. That O represents slope equal to 0. Mean value theorem is most common tested. On every single AP exam, they always test mean value theorem, and every competition they test mean value theorem. You know, this is one of the things a must. is MVT. I think it's the most value theorem. I think because like f of x is continuous between a and b. F of x is differentiable between a and b, but it's a parenthesis. Now, what does that mean? F prime of c. That means instantaneous rate of change for the tangent line. It's equal to fb minus fa over v minus a. That's the secant line slope. So on your test, when they ask you mean value theorem, you had to go in, figure out the slope between the endpoint first, set it equal to the derivative, solve for x. Yeah. Please not including endpoints. And it's also known that the easier to remember mean value theorem is tangent line equal to secant line. At 3.3, we talk about f prime x is greater than 0, f of x is increasing, f prime x is less than 0, f of x is decreasing. Now, a lot of people get confused with first derivative test. What is a first derivative test? First derivative test, it does not tell me like increasing, decreasing. Actually, it tells me the maximum and minimum. And it's actually the justification for maximum minimum. So I give you an example, how do you justify something? For example, you have a number line. Before A, you got positive. After A, you got minus. Before B is negative and after B is positive. So your maximum is at A. But you cannot say according to the number line test. You have to say f prime of x changing from positive to negative at A. So a f of A is relative max. You have to say it in that way. Now, some people says, a lot of time on the I grade in the past, they say it. Please do not say it. So some people says it changing from positive to negative, and it changing from positive to negative. That will not count to a justification. So you cannot say it because it could be represent so many things. It could be represent f of x, f prime x, f double prime x. It does not work. You cannot say it changing from positive to negative. I'm going to say that over and over again. On a test, people's going to say it changing from positive to negative. And I have to take points off. I cannot give you a point because I don't know what's it. Right? Concavity is f double prime of x is greater than 0, concave up. F double prime of x less than 0, concave down. F double prime of x equal to 0. It's not inflection point yet. Again, f prime of x equal to 0 does not mean it relative maximum minimum. It's only until proven by the number line, right? So this is the inflection point. So possible inflection point until proven. You cannot say this double prime is equal to 0 automatically is inflection point. No, we got example where it doesn't work like that. Second derivative test. Again, second derivative test does not tell me concavity or inflection point. Actually, second derivative test is telling you about maximum min with the Karate Kid, right? They say if f prime x is equal to 0, which is that's the horizontal tangent, and then if f double prime of c is greater than 0, so it's going to be a concave up. So if it's concave up, this point is a relative min. And if f prime of c is equal to 0 and f double prime of c is less than 0, is concave down. So this point is relative max. So that's not like, it's a very easy thing to think about. Now you're going to say, what kind of situation is this? This is when the question only give you a second derivative. They didn't even give you a first derivative. How would you do first derivative test if they didn't give you the first derivative? Yes.
For justification, can we write that the tangent line is above or below?
Yeah, tangent line. So usually the question is gonna ask you says, you're gonna says, let's just say if I have this, right? Let's just give you an example. Let's just say f prime of 3 is equal to 0, right? And f double prime of 3 is equal to -4. So x equal to 3 is what? It's not 2. Did you say 2?
Nope.
X equal to 3 is what?
Max.
Relative what?
Max.
Max. Why?
Because the second derivative is less than 0. And we have the tangent line.
Yeah, so it's a tangent line, horizontal tangent, and -4, so it has to be a minimum, right? Wait, did you say max? Oh no, yeah, max. Okay, yeah, so it's facing down. Yeah, so I did it wrong. So it's facing down, so it's a maximum. Okay, so therefore the x equal to 3 is a relative max. So the whole time I didn't give you the first derivative equation, so you cannot do a number line test on it. I just told you f prime 3 is equal to 0. I never told you anything else. And I also told you f double prime of 3 is less than 4, so it's concave down, so it has to be a max, not inflection point, right? So this is, then how you justify this? If I justify this, it says due to f prime of 3 is equal to 0, and f double prime of 3 is less than 0, therefore, using second derivative test, x equal to 3 is a relative max. And that's it. And that's how you justify with the second derivative test. You don't have to say anything else. Yes. Yeah, it has to be that first. That's the first condition. The second condition says, okay, well, are they less than 0, greater than 0? Then you're gonna produce different result. Am I confusing you guys? Okay, also like later on you're gonna talk about a tangent line. Yeah, like Jacob was talking about tangent line. The AP exam will ask you, is a tangent line above or below? Then you're gonna say, well, tangent line is above because f double prime of x is negative. So your justification is gonna be f double prime of x is negative, and that's way out you will say. And the wording of the question just like a previous worksheet, which is the same worksheet on maybe a few problem ago.
Thing on justification.
What?
Right at the top for justification was the second half of the sentence say.
For inflection point?
Uh,
Yeah, in justification is f double prime of x changing from positive to negative at C, inflection point at C, or negative to positive is same thing.
okay.
Okay, so those are easiest way to earn points. I feel like this chapter are the easiest way to earn point on AP exam. Next chapter as well. So if you get down those two chapters, even you screw up like derivative, now you just need to go back and review derivative, like say, hey, do I know how to take a derivative? I think Olivia and Perva need to go back and work on derivative, make sure all your derivative is right, knowing what to do, chain rule and product rule and quotient rule. And then because this is gonna come back to get you if you know you didn't do well on those tests because you were absent. But if you know how to do that and you understand this, the thing will start turning around. I feel like things will start turning around. Okay. With that being said, we're gonna go to the homework questions. I think the first two questions, at first is easy. I will say x equal to 2 is relative max, and do not say it. F prime x changing from positive to negative at x equal to 2, therefore 2, f of 2 is a relative max. X equal to 1, x equal to 2, x equal to 3, f double prime of x changing sign. Should you say changing what sign to what sign at 1? I mean, I would, because it doesn't take a long time. It takes another 30 seconds. Just tell people like, you know, what's going on. But I just want to shorthand. I just say f double prime x changing sign at x equal to 1, x equal to 2, x equal to 3. And that's your inflection point, and that's my justification. Now, next part is here. I will focus on this number line test. I will using that chart, and I draw all those number line tests first, because it's easier for me to see it from the number line test rather than looking at the chart. It doesn't mean you have to. It's not required, because number line test is not justification in any mean. So it's just easier for me for me to track of things. Okay, so how I'm gonna do, I'm gonna track of things. So I'm gonna go back. This is my graph. Did anybody come out of this graph? Okay, first thing is I'm gonna do this one first. 0, -1. So that's gonna be this point. 1, 0. That's gonna be this point. Do you see that? 2, 2 is this point. And the 3, 0 is this point. So those are three specific points that I know. But anything before 1 is negative. Anything between 1 and 2 is positive. After 3 is negative. Now I'm just gonna go look at this two parts now. So this is positive and increasing. So it has to be positive increasing going like this. Does that make sense? Oh, sorry, it had to go through there. So positive increasing, it has to be like this. Okay, and this is positive and increasing. So positive concave up, sorry, positive and concave up. The other one is positive and concave down. So this characteristic I will draw in. Also, it's decreasing and concave down. So this actually form a cusp. Because why the cusp? Because they also told me that it does not exist at that part. So that's why it's a cusp there. And then it's gonna be, lastly, it's gonna be decreasing and concave up. This is the inflection point. And this is the inflection point as well. And this is a maximum, actually relative maximum. And you should indicate all those things. Sketch a graph a function that has all the characteristics. You don't have to write down a characteristic, but if you can, it's also help the grader, like you know what's going on. Any questions about this part? Yes.
You can make us do that on the text.
For what?
Draw a graph.
Yeah, you're gonna have to sketch. In UCF, they actually give you a final exam for Calc 1 and as well as midterm, because this one's in the midterm. They will give you like a first derivative, second derivative. They will do a derivative for you. They will do a derivative for you. And they will say sketch this graph based on the derivative original function and a second derivative. And that's what UCF does. I don't know. Yeah. Now this graph, I got this. Anybody come up with this graph? I'm gonna go do it over again. Just make sure you understand it. I'm gonna go do it again. Hold on. Okay, so yes, Miranda.
Anytime it says like the numbers doesn't exist, we always just assume the draw.
No. They say the I say f prime of x does not exist. It doesn't have to be a cusp. It could be a vertical tangent. It could be a vertical tangent. So it's just a undefined slope. Undefined slope, it could be a vertical tangent or a cusp. It's not always expected. I like never remember. It's never. You should never always says. I do that a lot, but the always statement is very scary, right? It says like it's separate. I was an idiot. No, because sometimes it's really smart, right? Huh? Exactly. So that's why I make fun of it. So he doesn't hear me. He's like my son, seriously. He's like my other son.
That's good.
I adopt this child. Wait, if I adopt you, will you not get deported now?
I'll hit you up and say I'll hit you up.
I adopt Iranian. No, he's not. Ice is listening. Ice is listening. They copy my channel. The interval wedge is increasing. So what I will do is I will take the first derivative of this, and that's gonna be 12 times 2/3 times x to the -1/3 minus 4, and that's equal to 8x to the -1/3 minus 4 of f prime of x. Now I was looking at around, I think Apple, I think some other people here is they did not find the second 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 critical number. So how do I find the second critical number? You thought there's only one critical number, but there's actually two. We talked about earlier before is ax to the 1/3 like this minus 4. So you will change the fraction because that's the negative exponents. I change the fraction. So what I will do is actually I want to multiply this by x to the 1/3 over x to the 1/3. So that's how you find the second one. So because x to the 1/3, this one's 8 minus 4x to the 1/3. So you can set the top part equal to 0, which is 8 minus 4x to the 1/3 equal to 0. And that's going to be 2 equal to x to the 1/3. X is equal to 8. So that's the first critical number. The second critical number is x to the 1/3 equal to 0, x equal to 0. So this is the second one here. So once you have a second one here, then you want to do a number line test between 0 and 8. So yes, Marina, I had a question.
What if we just like, instead of doing like a common denominator, can you not?
Usually when there's a fraction, you want to combine fraction. Especially x on the denominator, you want to combine fraction because there's second one on the bottom. Now I'm going to test this. I'm going to test the bottom one easy first. X to the 1/3. Anything negative is going to be negative. Anything positive is going to be positive. It's pretty easy. Now I will plug in between negative infinity to 0 on the first one. I will plug in 1. Negative 1, sorry. Negative 1 is going to be 4 to the negative 1, so it'll be positive. And I will plug in 1 on the other side. It's also positive because that's still not enough to outweigh 8. Now I'm going to plug in like 27 because if you want a 1/3 power is 27 to the 1/3, so it'll be 8 minus 4 times 27 to the 1/3. That's equal to 8 minus 4 times 3. That's equal to 8 minus 12. That's equal to negative 4. So this is negative. So negative, positive, negative. So decreasing, increasing, decreasing. And then you're going to say a relative minimum happen at x equal to 0, y equal to 0. And justify, it says f prime x change from negative to positive. Is that okay?
Yeah.
At x equal to 0. And then at x equal to 8 is relative max. Now f of 8, I think you're going to get 16. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
12 times 8 to the 2/3 minus 4 times 8. That's equal to 12 times 4 minus 32. That's equal to 16. So 8 comma 16 is relative max. And this relative max, you're going to justify f prime x change from positive to negative. And concave downward, I have to do a second derivative. So I'm going to do the second derivative based on this equation, just because I think it's easier. So f double prime, I don't want to do the one with the fraction. So it'll be 8 x to the negative 4/3, I think. It's going to be negative 8x to the 4/3. I think I forgot a 3. There was a 0 here, and I will plug in any value. I'm going to always get negative. Why is it like that though? Because if you plug in anything to the bottom, and if you cube root, it's going to be negative, yes. But if you're going to go to 4th power, it's going back to positive. But positive times the negative sign in the front, it will actually end up to be negative. So this is actually negative, negative. So concave downwards, negative infinity to 0, and then 0 to infinity. Now I'm going to draw the thing here. And the thing is 0, 0, and the 8 is going to be 16. So this is 8 over 16. And according to the graph, it's going to be, I'm going to draw it, is dotted line. Dotted line, wait, hold on a second. Dotted line here, decreasing, and then increasing, and then decreasing, right? Now I'm going to draw a concavity here. Concave down. Concave down. Concave down here. Now this probably have another x-intercept here. I do not know how to evaluate, so I'm not gonna worry about that. So that's gonna be the graph. And that's the graph of here. This one is my factor. X-intercept always factor, set equal to 0. You should know how to do that. Pi over 2 and pi over 2 and 0. Negative pi over 2, pi over 2 and 0. If you take a second derivative, it's going to be negative sine of x plus 2 cosine of x sine of x. Factor out sine of x, and you find out 0 and pi over 3. Wait. Yeah, 0 pi over 3 and negative pi over 3. And if you do a number line test, it should look like this. It's positive, negative, positive, negative. And then you'll get a 0 to pi over 2, pi over 3. And then this is my graph. There's no cusp anywhere. There's all smooth. Sine graphs never have a cusp. Yes.
Where'd you get the pi over 2 from?
Pi over 2 is from the x-intercept. Yes.
Do we have to worry about the concavity on this graph?
No, they never asked you. Yeah, they never did ask. Don't do anything necessary unless they ask. I know some people did a second derivative. Anybody did a second derivative? Yeah, I mean, you don't have to because they didn't ask you. And concavity changing from sine and cosine is very straightforward. They don't have a cusp or anything like that. They don't have anything crazy. Now, if you think about tangent and secant and stuff like that, that gets kind of tricky. So those are things that you might have to worry about a bit more. But like this, no. But the problem is that people have fear of graphing. And I realized that throughout all the year, like I was teaching, even last year I was teaching pre-calc, I think people just didn't put down any graph. Like, dude, go put down something. At least I can give you points. Like, if you got x-intercept correctly, I'll give you points. But they just like, I think this generation is afraid to fail at something. I think my son's like that too. Other people are like that too. They're afraid to like, there's something wrong. I think Iran doesn't have that issue.
You're just going.
I think in America, people are like so afraid that, oh, they did something wrong. So don't be afraid to graph in something. Even if it's completely wrong, I just laugh at it. So, but, well, that's just, what'd you say?
He's teasing me about something.
I gave her this question.
It's not you who gave it. We had it for the competition. So yeah, I'm so close, and then he was like, "You have to solve it." He told me it's one of the hardest questions that he's ever solved. It took him 3 days to solve it. And I showed him my work, and he said, "Yeah, but the last thing you did was wrong." And then he was like, I told him that I can solve it. He was like, "No, you can't." And he was like,
I said in 3 days. She was making fun of me because it took me 3 days. I was like, you do it in 3 days, I'll do whatever you want.
Yeah, but I still,
It's been a whole week,
I
so
saw
yeah.
I saw like 2/3 of it in English class. I didn't even have time to continue. So
Yeah. I'll give you 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
All right, so this one I got this. You got something close to this? That's good. So this kind of answer is like open-ended because it could be a lot of different ways. It could have shipped up a little bit more or shipped down or something like that. But in general, the graph should look like those asymptote there. Now I have to redo this one because I really struggle with this one. So I'm gonna redo this one. but I'm gonna maybe sketch in the number line test here just for everything. So I'm gonna do a f prime x first, and this is how probably I should approach the first time. I'm trying to do it eyeball, but it doesn't work. 2 and -2 and 2 is positive, I think. And this is a negative and this is negative, I think. That's finished those two conditions. And this one slope is equal to 0. That's true. This one just gonna be a horizontal tangent, a horizontal asymptote at y equal to 1. This one's even functions, so that means there's symmetry. F double prime of x is less than 0 when 0 to 3, so 0 to 3 is gonna be negative, right? And f double greater than 3, that is concave up, so it's down and up. So I will probably draw asymptotes here at 1 first. I have problem drawing this part. I don't know, somebody have some problem. So is 0 to is concave down like this. But my
History, eh? What? What? No, it's not necessary.
so I hold on a second. There is a increasing between 0 to 2 and decreasing. So decreasing and concave up. So it's gonna be like something like this. Something like this, I think. It's concave up at 2. And after that is gonna be I don't have a creativity to come up.
Isn't it odd?
Oh yeah, it's sorry. Thank you.
You've been so
No, I was looking.
to know what I'm talking
I
about.
was looking at f prime of x is negative.
I told you below that, below that.
Okay, so so it's decreasing concave up at 2, and then it's gonna be concave down is increasing, so it's gonna be something like this. I think that would be an odd function like that. But actually has no, the odd function had to go to 0. So let me do that again. Wait, odd function.
Yeah.
But it has to go to 0 though. How do I go to 0? Because our function had to go to 0. I had symmetry to origin.
Wait, there's a.
So it's something like this. It still can go through origin, right? Yeah, that looks like that.
But shouldn't the end behavior be different if it's odd?
I was versus -1 on the
What
left.
is
It's -1.
They're both approaching 1. I did.
Oh, it should be. Wait, there's. So only one side has Oh, only one side has, yes.
For you, you're
It's gonna be a negative one.
inverted.
Yeah, that's what I did.
But for you, it's
The end behavior here. I put that in. It's negative one.
Good job, Ian.
That's what I did.
Yes.
Do you need to put the 0 below the 2, or could you just not put the 0?
I put it in between two.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to have align it correctly so I can see it more visually. Yeah, this one's kind of hard to graph. I have a hard time come up with this. Yes.
It is.
It's either you two on the offense, it's gonna go down because f prime x being less than 0 when f is less than negative 2.
I actually might get
Shouldn't it go
Mac, what did Mac says?
Shouldn't it go down as it goes to the left because f prime of x is less than 0 and x is less than negative 2?
Well, you're,
Do you guys understand what he's saying?
the slope is down when you're going to the right, since we're always going to the right when you're talking about the slope. Because it should be decreasing, it's just that approaching horizontal, and so it's hard to see.
Mr. A, this is a question.
Huh? This I don't think so, but it'll be because it's really hard to grade. Everybody's answer is gonna be slightly different. It's not really. It's kind of open-ended drawing, so it's really hard to grade. It's gonna have to use a lot of brain power to grade. So no, I won't put it on a test. And then so is the AP exam as well. AP exam they will not give you like ambiguous situations where like they're gonna have to sit down with a group of teachers says no, I think this is right, this is wrong, and they will start fighting with each other. Math people usually like argue with each other very severely, so you want to be like a definite answer pretty much. That's unfortunate. I think that math should have some open-ended questions, as opposed to just like thing. That's why there's a math competitions called M3. Actually, you should look into that. It's a that might get you to MIT.
Isn't it the one there's like 6 questions for like 1 hour and 30 minutes?
No, this is the one is open-ended math questions. Like they say, okay, there's American production of food is the and I think it's got M3 competition.
I look at the ones that like like the one bro. I look at his videos.
Oh yeah, that's called. There are 6 questions.
Yeah,
The average score is 1 out of 50.
it's crazy.
Average score.
I
If
saw
you got a
one of the-
1, you're already above average.
I saw one of the questions where it's like a sphere. There's a dot in the middle, and you can have 4 points randomly. Which how many of those would touch the middle point?
And yeah, the solution usually agrees.
Exactly. He solved it. I can't do it right now, but he did it, and I was like, wow, like geometry could probably get this. Like it's not that crazy.
Yeah, but people haven't come up with that.
Yeah, it's so genius. It's actually really
I think how do you come up with questions? That's the fastest you've been.
Usually it takes me peanut books from that rather than I can look for
It's gonna be grand.
No, farm.
Wait, where
You know what Mom does a lot?
you sign
She
up
scratches
like
back on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
I should do that. When he's waiting on the ball.
While you're waiting for people, he sits there and
Yeah, exactly. When he's waiting, it's just that.
farm. That hallway is like all freshmen now, except for him, though. He says it's really depressing.
I want to be there.
You don't unlock that.
Yeah, the downstairs security.
If they want me to.
no,
This is why I say she has ADHD.
Watch it like go walk in.
Lunchtime, if you will be playing, I'll be
Wait,
like,
you're only driving out every day.
Yay. Thank you, everybody.
It's in there.
Great day.
We can only have
I can meet you guys there.
Okay, let's do it.
Cause I can go after.
Wait, what's that? Are you gonna be here Sunday?
Yeah, I'll come back Saturday.
Are you going to
Sunday
be too?
morning.
Isn't
Yeah, I'm
that what
going
you
to
said?
FSU.
Oh my
You're
god.
going to for Halloween. What do you think you're doing? You're doing.
Partying, bro.
What do you think you're doing?
I'm visiting friends and
You
family.
look like 30, so they can get you all.
Yeah.
They never ID me in Gainesville. I'm
No,
gonna try
my-
that. I'm gonna see it in FSU.
Timo uses his older brothers because they look
They
Yeah,
look
they look
They
so
say-
alike. They're actually so smart.
Miss
Yeah.
Piggy, do we pass the 21?
These two? I do.
No.
I do.
You look like 45.
Yeah,
I
I got friends. Yeah.
Okay, so Sunday, what's your mic coach? Yeah. What time?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's fun. Now you're gonna open the door. That's
Oh,
you're
no,
supposed
I'm
to
not.
open the door.
Oh, this. Oh, you're watching the same thing I was watching. I think.
Bro, this is MIT question.
No, that's literally part of physics. That's.
How I study physics is I just pull up MIT workbook and I just solve the questions. Don't, bro, I'm telling you, do not watch the videos Greenwald assigns to you. It could give you a good grade on the test, but when it comes to the AP exam,
Oh, that's
it's nothing you like.
It's nothing.
Like, that's the mistake I regret so much in physics 1. I studied with Greenwald stuff, and then I realized it until like unit 7 or 8, which was
We're
like the last.
supposed to bring in
I'm so locked
canned
in.
vegetables to this class.
Girl, I was gonna take a nap to study. I take a nap at 9. I wake up at 7, bro. I was gonna take a power nap yesterday. But yeah, it's unit 2. I think I can do good on unit 2. And that's slowly coming back.
You see it literally up there.
Oh, someone's doing it.
I missed it. We like just like. This is great to test, Mister. Yeah. That'd be great. I ain't gonna be here.
You're not coming?
No, we can put it on my small. Take a chill today because. Right now, there's no Bluetooth school. I'm not gonna be there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say, maybe you look like you test them all. That's not the book that was student.
We gotta lock him for a minute.
And then they were like,
free one.
You forget. I swear, the exams are gonna pull up. All we have is literally my bomb.
It's like,
Physics doesn't look that great. I'm not gonna lie.
All right, we're gonna grade the test tomorrow, but we're gonna keep on going today. Because tomorrow's Halloween, so.
Yeah.
But we can protect her today.
Are you gonna dress up?
Pick out my eye.
Oh, that costume.
What's that called?
That's a costume of me.
No, I
So check each other with the answers, and we're moving on. There's only 5 questions.
I do respond.
We circle all of them.
I did, and then I solved them, but I still circled them. I solved them, but I circled them. I did it.
I feel like I just need to.
Your head.
You're the answer.
That's what I.
First one is 1/4, the second one is 1/8.
Okay.
The fourth one is 7, and then the last. No. The fourth one is. Yeah, 7.
I do the number.
And for the fifth one is 1.
What about the sixth one? The sixth one.
There wasn't.
There was six?
Yes, there was number six.
There was 6.
It wasn't.
Yes. Oh, really? Oh, he airdropped me a justification. I got the boom.
I got 1/10, 1/4, 1/8, 40.
You guys know what you're doing, Katie?
Yeah, I got it right.
I can say this ain't as hard as Brandon was saying.
What?
Brandon was like blazing this, like
For
the hardest
Halloween,
thing.
you dressed up as your
English
Can you wear no, can you wear your new?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not asking when they will arrive. My students asking when the shirt arrived. She ordered from China.
Misty and Derek are gonna hang.
You did never told me what's the yeah.
November, like,
Oh, for pictures?
Oh, for pictures? Oh, you need to.
The other club pictures are in like.
they didn't make me feel any better. I don't like my club right now. I don't care. My bubbles is fun.
You didn't never told me how many shirts you want.
Yeah, I know. That's what I need to get the
Or again?
Huh?
I gave like all these send out the
Let me just estimate it, maybe.
estimate.
You work up in there?
I don't know. What do you think estimate?
I'll tell you how many members we have. That many shirts.
I do this.
We can just ask who already have a shirt.
I nobody answered.
All right. Can I move on or no? It's okay. Somebody go over number 4, please.
I got 1/3. Oh, yes, because it all turned itself into 0.
Alejandra, can you go over number 4? You got it or no?
No, I think like we can maybe cover. What, talk about what?
Alejandro's gonna go over number 4. What's number 4 or number 5? 4? Okay. Alright, I'm gonna get ready for today for streaming. We're gonna talk about a lot of stuff today, so.